What up, world, and welcome to the Joe Grasty Jr. Auto Racing Show. I am your host, Joe Grasty Jr., and I have some sad news coming out of the NASCAR community. Pete Hamilton of Massachusetts had passed away yesterday. He was just 74 years old, and as we all know, if you're a NASCAR fan and you live in New England, Pete Hamilton won 4 races, and he has 33 top 10s, 3 poles, and he was the 1968 Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Grand National Series, and he was the 1974 Snowball Derby champion, and as we all know from his memorable win in the 1970 Daytona 500 in the early 70s. He's driving the Superbird for Petty Enterprises. He will be missed. But now I want to get down to the factor of the Vegas race, since I haven't covered that yet. As we all know, Martin Truex Jr. dominated all 3 of the stages. But after the race when Truex was heading to victory lane, there was a fight involving Kyle Busch and Joey Logano. Because as we all know, Logano and Busch were racing for the same real estate when they were trying to finish and get a good top 10, and Logano tapped Busch and spinned him out. Kyle Busch was very upset about that incident, and after the race, everybody just forgot about the Martin Truex Jr. winning the Cobo Tools 400, and they saw this big brawl involving Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, on pit row. But Joey Logano didn't even touch him, but he did punch him. But Kyle Busch was getting hit by all of Logano's crew members in that big pile up after the race. And Denny Hamlin was on the sideline watching the fight, and he didn't even do anything to come and help because he was like, you know what, my name is Bennett and I haven't been in it. And he just walked away and head to his racing trailer. But so far, everybody was questioning about Kyle Busch's forehead because everybody saw it bleeding, and it wasn't from the wreck. One of the crew members of Joey Logano hit Kyle Busch. And as we all know, when we were heading to Phoenix, there was going to be no penalties. But Logano was trying to race for the same real estate, stay on the track just like he did in the Xfinity Series race. It's on Saturday. But when they headed out to Phoenix, and they were actually not going to be participating in practice for a little bit because the NASCAR officials wanted to talk to them in the officials' trailer or about their incident. But so far, since their incident didn't cause any damage, there was no penalties handed out. No penalties. It was ridiculous. I mean, don't they at least get some points docked from them? Or at least maybe get penalized, taken away points, and maybe at least suspended for the next few races or something? But NASCAR is kind of tired of tossing out penalties to drivers for doing bad stuff. They actually think it's better that they don't toss out penalties. But they didn't do that during the Xfinity Series race, which involved Cup Series driver Austin Dillon and Cole Cluster racing for the same real estate as well. Except they both got involved in a wreck. Then after that, on a pace lap, Austin thought it was very smart to put Cole Cluster on the wall even though they were going slow. But NASCAR was very upset because they were saying, what was all that about? I mean, doesn't Austin understand he can't do that? What if he has younger fans that are in the racing business watching all this, and they try to do the same thing on the track like he's doing? Because there are some young fans out there that are in the racing business at their local short track. And they might try to do it with one of their go-karts or late models or modifieds or something. And they think it was very inappropriate. But Austin was parked, and him and Cole Cluster didn't get any penalties either. But meanwhile, when it all came to the race, the only drivers that were fighting fair for the same position were Eric Jones and Justin Allgaier. And as we all know, Justin Allgaier hasn't won a race since 2012 at Montreal, Canada, at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And that was one of the road courses that were run in Canada for the NASCAR Canadian Series and the NASCAR Nationwide / Xfinity Series. But back in the day, day before, we had Xfinity Cable sponsoring, and it was Nationwide Insurance before it went on Earnhardt's car and became Earnhardt's sponsor, and then the NASCAR Nationwide Series became the Xfinity Series. But so far, as we all know, no, there was just 4 laps to go, and everybody was questioning, is it going to be Allgaier? Is it going to be Jones? And at the end, it was all Justin Allgaier winning it for Junior Motorsports and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's not forget it's been 81 races since Allgaier won anything, and it was pretty cool to see him in victory lane once again and to see him win. But for me, it was really amazing, because you're the driver, you're just going out there for the same real estate and for the same gig as everyone else, and you want to win even if you haven't won in a long time. And when you haven't won in a long time, actually, you really have to put it all on the edge. I mean, he put it all on the edge, and he actually won something. And then we head on to Sunday. Joey Logano won the pole, and he was just skyrocketing the whole field. He won segment 1, but let's not forget, Kyle Larson was creeping towards him, just right behind him. And then after that, it was going to be coming down to Larson and Chase Elliott for the lead when Logano got a speeding penalty. And we all thought that Larson was going to win it, or it would be Chase Elliott, but Chase Elliott won segment 2. And then after that, segment 3 came along, and they were battling for the same real estate, and there was another caution. But then so far, Kyle Busch, who started this whole gig saying everything is great and he was ready to get into a race car, his car again was actually, well, he led the whole thing, and in his mind he was like, everything is great, I'm actually going to win this one. But until after that, there was a caution and everything was not great. Logano hit the wall and was up in a shower of sparks, and everybody was just questioning who was going to win this one. They was just sitting around in suspense, and they thought, who's going to win it? Will it be? But there was a surprise win, and it was the Rocket Man himself, Ryan Newman, in victory lane with 3 laps to go. Because we all know Ryan Newman hadn't won in a very long time since the Stewart-Haas days when he drove for Tony Stewart. And now he's driving for Richard Childress, driving the 31 that Jeff Burton used to pilot. And now here he is in victory lane with Richard Childress, as we all know, and he won. He won at Phoenix. He was the new dominator of the desert. Even though we all were voting for Kevin Harvick or Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson, but they did ran a good show, and I'm pretty sure they'll do the same thing at Fontana, California. And as we all know, for the West Coast swing, this is going to be the final swing up in Fontana, because we all have our votes where if it's going to be Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, or Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Busch, and more. Because they really do have good strategies, so they can go and win this one. And also, on the NASCAR Home Track Series side, a friend of mine had won at the Myrtle Beach Speedway in the NASCAR Modified Series, Mr. Timmy Saladito, a friend of mine, and he was also a runner-up for the NASCAR Modified Championship last year, finishing 3rd to Justin Boschemore. He really did run a great show, even though I wasn't there to see the whole thing, but I heard about it online, and I heard about it in the news, and he really did do a good job, and I gotta give him congratulations on that win. And I can't wait to see him at the Icebreaker at Thompson Speedway in Thompson, Connecticut. So that is all, and I'm out.